So folks, welcome back to the channel. I hope y'all are doing great out there. Thank you for tuning in to this video today on some 300 Blackout case prep work. Now, if you've been following the channel, you have probably seen that I've done two other videos in recent times, late last year, on case prep in regards to trimming and chamfering, deburring, all of that. I think I probably have done a video on swaging. I can't remember, but I don't know. I'll have to look that one up. But also, too, I have some new 300 Blackout brass coming. So at some point, I'll be doing a video on resizing with the Lee app. But for right now, we have a batch of brass here. This has already gone through the whole case prep process except for one thing. And so coming up, we have our new 300 Blackout project that I'll be dropping here soon. Some of those projects in the past have been very popular with y'all. So I'm looking forward to the next one. I think that a lot of folks are going to like it. It's going to be something a little bit different. I had planned to do a certain bullet previously as my next project and decided to change it up to something else, which I said that I would probably, or at least at the time, wasn't all that interested in. And anyways, so y'all get to see what that is coming up. But so one last thing to do here is we have gone through that whole process of resizing everything. You know, we've done our chamfering, deburring, trimming, all that stuff. So now what we really want to do is get the brass all nice and clean. So that way, whenever we go to reload, we have nice, clean primer pockets. We don't have any dirt or grit or anything in there. I like nice, clean primer pockets. And then also, too, we have the lanolin oil basically on them from being resized. We also have probably little brass chips from whenever we trimmed or we chamfered or deburred. And basically, we just want to clean everything up so that we have this nice, clean brass. Now, another thing, too, that we should think about with 300 Blackout is quite often I run into this. Let's see what kind of brass this is. So this right here is a converted 223 Remington case. And the reason also why washing your brass good and giving it a good clean, I think, is a beneficial thing. Is because especially with a lot of this converted 223 or 556 brass, when you go to, say, convert it over to 300 Blackout, one thing is a lot of times is that you don't know how many times that has been shot necessarily, or also too if it's been fired in a machine gun perhaps, which a lot of times due to certain reasons will cause the case to lengthen significantly. Ask me how I know. Went through hell years ago, basically case prepping 7.62 NATO brass that had been fired in a belt-fed machine gun. That's a whole nother story. But in a lot of cases, you're dealing with a lot of different manufacturers. And with that case being stretched out and compacted over time, multiple times if it's been reloaded, or fired, for instance, in that machine gun where the case is stretched out a bit, you're going to run into issues perhaps where you'll have different thickness of the brass. And as a result of that, what I have seen a lot of times is it is susceptible with a lot of this converted 300 Blackout brass for you to get very fine cracks, just enough where you can see light on the other side. And some of them have been always very tricky to spot. And it's one of those things where often you won't even notice it like this, just kind of looking at it from the side. And then you go and you put some light and you can actually see the light coming through a crack in the brass or whatever. So that is one thing by getting our brass all nice and clean. It helps us to basically spot a lot of those defects. And that's why with all my brass, I'm very finicky about basically getting it clean to pretty much as new condition. It just makes it easier for me to spot any potential defects. For instance, you might even have like case head separation, a little thin line here that might start to form that you notice, different things like that. And so I just find by having clean brass, it just helps you in those situations. Now, one thing too, some people might say, annealing brass, I can see the benefits to that, but the one thing I've always said to people online in the gun forums to talk about annealing brass is that it's a thing where if you are going to go and do that, pretty much you have to invest the time in doing it, and then also too, if you want to do it well or efficiently, you pretty much have to go out and buy one of those machines. So that's another $400 or $600. And for me, I just have to weigh it up in terms of how long is this brass actually going to last for. Brass gets lost at the range or whatever it might be. So, you know, that's just another step that, you know, maybe someday I'll consider it worth it to make that investment. But I just find for practical reasons, the brass probably ain't going to live long enough for it to be really worth it. Maybe I'll change my mind someday. But as I said, if you are going to go through that process or that step, you have to think about the investment in time and money and machines to essentially get all that done. And so when you're loading, you know, bins and bins of brass like this, is that something that you want to take the time to do? Well, that's up to you. So, all right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you basically my magic little formula for washing brass and how I do it. And we'll pull all the stuff out and have a quick look at it. All right, folks, so what I use is a Frankfurt Arsenal wet tumbler. I'm a big fan of wet tumbling. To me, I don't really like the lead-soaked dry dust and dealing with the walnut hulls and all that stuff. So I've always done wet tumbling and much prefer it to doing the dry stuff. So we'll put our brass in. Then the next thing that I always use is distilled water. So distilled water, essentially it's just steam that's condensed back into a nice solid liquid of water. So we'll put our water in. So there's no basically other impurities in this, like if we were using well water or whatever. So that should be good for right now. Then the other thing that we'll do is we'll put in some Lemmy Shine. This is basically some citric acid, so you don't want to overdo it on this. If you overdo it on the Lemmy Shine, it could potentially leach the zinc out of the brass, and we don't want that to happen. So basically I just give it kind of a little dash. That's about all we need. Sorry for hitting the camera there, but in kind of tight confines here. Then we have Hornady one shot, so I also use this too. And this is a thing where we don't need to overdo it on this either. So we'll just go ahead and add in just kind of a little splash there. That should be good enough. And the one thing I noticed with this stuff is that it tends to kind of clump together, so I kind of shook it up a bit. But over time, when it sits on the shelf, it kind of separates. So just give it a good shake and just try to loosen it up a bit if you can. Then the next thing is I add stainless steel pins. Now there are occasions where I will wash brass without using stainless steel pins, but if you want to get the inside of the brass clean and primer pockets and stuff, pretty much you got to use stainless steel pins. So we'll add these babies. Then at this point we can check the water level. We're probably okay. I think I can add a little bit more water. I think we'll be fine. That should be good. So that's the solution that we're going to use. Hornady one shot case cleaning formula, the Lemmy Shine citric acid, and then also distilled water, and then our stainless steel pins. I'll put links for this stuff here to Amazon down below, and check that out. Now what we're going to do is we'll get the cap to this, and we'll go ahead and get it started tumbling. Okay, so we got our tumbler all set up. So what we'll do is we will go ahead and set it for 2 hours, and we'll let it run for 2 hours, and we should be good to go. All right, folks, so we got everything all done. So what I'll end up doing is just go ahead and pouring off the excess here, and then we'll go ahead and get it rinsed, and we'll get the stainless steel pins separated, and we'll be good. And then into the dryer. Okay, so we got all the brass out along with our stainless steel pins. So one thing is that I don't have any plumbing here in the barn. And also too, I want to use distilled water. So to make it easier, I don't know, a couple years ago I bought one of these. I actually did a video on fixing the seals on these when they wear out. But it's just a Smith contractor sprayer with a Viton pump. It's like a 2-gallon one. And I just put some distilled water in it. And then that way I can just kind of rinse the brass a bit. Just making it a bit easier than kind of using like a one of those pump spray bottles or something like that. So just makes it kind of easy. And I'm just going to give it a preliminary rinse right here just to get some of the excess suds and crap off and all that, because we want to get rid of these stainless steel pins, and then we can give it a final rinse to get all the remaining crap off of all the sudsy crap from our solution. So we'll go ahead and seal up our case tumbler here, and then I'll go ahead and rotate it around and get rid of all the pins, and then we'll go ahead and give it the final rinse, and we'll put it into the brass dryer. Okay, so we finished rinsing all of our brass with distilled water. Probably at most I used half a gallon or less of distilled water with that sprayer to spray everything off. I just kept spraying it down until all the muck and suds and all that stuff was gone. Made sure we got all the stainless steel pins shook loose and all that. On occasion, sometimes in the case mouths on 300 Blackout, I've had stainless steel pins stick in them. So before I go to reload them, I'll just check them to make sure there's not a pin in there or anything. But, you know, it's kind of a rare occurrence, but just something to kind of be aware of. So we got it in our Frankfurt Arsenal brass dryer. You know, I love this thing. It works real well. So we got 5 trays in here of brass. So everything's looking pretty sweet. Give you a little close up there. Everything's all kind of nice and clean and all that. So yeah, everything should come good. Now it's time to go eat some Qdoba tacos and have some queso, and come back in an hour and brass should be ready to go. All right, folks, so we ate our tacos and had our chips and queso, had a nice dinner, and now we're back out here with our brass. Got everything all nice and done. So we had it on for just over an hour, and looks like everything is nice and dry. Hopefully the camera will zoom in there good, but primer pockets are all nice and clean and shiny. So got all that stuff out. Everything should be looking good. Focus, camera, focus. But all nice and shiny. Even the insides are looking pretty good. So everything's looking nice. Pretty much kind of like back to new condition, and that's the way I like it. Now, one of the things I'll do is with this brass here is I'll just leave it in the brass dryer overnight, and I'll just let the brass cool down to basically, you know, room temperature. And then I'll put it in a container. And then the other thing I do is if I think I'm not going to use the brass for a while, I'll just put some desiccant packs in there with them. Typically I use these. They're rechargeable packs. And I'll just use them to keep any excess moisture. Or if I happen to miss a piece of brass, maybe that had a little moisture left in it, whatever, that can kind of suck it all up in the container. And just keep everything nice and dry and keeping the brass looking all good from tarnishing. So I'll do that. And then we should be ready to load. Now, the other thing I'll do too is that whenever I go to prime this brass, what I'll do is just kind of manually inspect the brass, and then also too check to make sure that there's no stainless steel pins that accidentally got stuck in there. And so every time that I prime, or even whenever I go to seat the bullet and dump the powder in, you know, I'll just have a look inside or check the brass over to make sure everything is good. There's no cracks in the case shoulder neck or in the case mouth. or anything else that looks, you know, basically out of sorts. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed the video and you got some good tips out of it. We got a ton more videos coming up here soon. So stay tuned. I'm working on tons of stuff. I'm just so busy with YouTube right now. So we got 300 Blackout. We got 32 ACP. We got a bunch of reviews coming up. We have some other commentary videos on different subjects coming up. So yeah, should be some cool stuff. I'm working on a rural property security series of videos, so that should be something that's going to be a lot of fun to do. So stay tuned, folks, and we'll see you next time. Any questions or comments, leave them below. Oh yeah, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Really appreciate that. Have a good day, y'all.